Okay. Hello. It's been a while. But I'm back. Back from our trip Today we will be glazing primarily. I've got a lot of stuff that needs to be glazed. We're going to start out with slip casting some of our potatoes and eggs, and then after that we will move into glazing. We've got a lot of mugs, a few bowls, and quite a few flowers that all need to be glazed. So, first things first though, we'll start out by getting our little molds here cleaned up. That way we can get these going, since they need to sit for a while before they can be opened up. My goodness. I'm getting over a little bit of a cold. We got back from our trip last week. My throat was rough. I'm not really all that surprised with how many people we were around the entire week. Between being in the city in New Orleans and being on the airplanes and the buses and at the airport and all that. So my apologies if my throat is still a bit rough. Okay. It's fine. It's fine. Okay. Alright. We got all these wiped out and cleaned up. Let's get them together so that we can dump in our slip. Ooh-wee. Okay, that one's good. Do our eggs next. All right. Okay, we've got all these. We've got these cleaned up. We got them banded together. Let's grab our slip. We'll have to give it a good mix since it's been sitting around a little while. Have to make sure that we give all of our materials today a good mix. Our glazes and our slip here especially. none of them should be deadpanned, which is a very good thing. I've never had any issues with deadpanning. Knock on wood. Or some. But if they are, then we're gonna have to bust out the power mixer. Okay. It's pretty well mixed up now. So let's start pouring these in. Let's fill them up. Let's get these filled up. Whoa. That one filled up a lot faster than I expected it to. Hello. Okay, one more egg. Will we have enough? Oh, just enough. You'll love to see it. Dump whatever we've got left in here. Not very much. Let's refresh it. Okay, and then let's get our potato filled up. Hopefully what I've got here is enough. Be a little surprised if it wasn't, but let's see. Oh, it's gonna be close. It's gonna be close. Is it gonna be enough? Can we do it? Oh, it was not enough. Let's go again. And there it is. Nice. Okay, we will let those sit for a little bit. We gotta top them off as the plaster absorbs the moisture from the slip. No big deal. While we wait. What time is it? It is 9:58 currently. So we gotta let these sit for about 13 minutes, which will put us at about 10:10, roughly. Okay. Get that set off out of the way. Let's wash our hands up a little bit. I have lost my towel. Where's my towel? I leave it outside the room. Kind of seems like it. Got it. I took it outside and shook it out, tried to get some of the dust out of it, and then I forgot it. Silly me. Okay. Those are looking decent. Drink a little coffee while we wait. Fancy pudding? Oh my goodness, hello. It's been a while. I'm sorry I've been gone. That ends today. I was gone last week. My wife and I, we went on a trip, and then we got back like mid last week, and then I was sick. So, I am back now. And we don't have any trips or anything planned for a long time. Boom. Okay. Keep an eye on these while the plaster sucks some of that moisture away. In the meantime, start getting things around for our glazing. I want to take a quick look at a lot of these mugs that I'm going to be glazing and just make sure that the cracking around the handle isn't going to be too much to cause any kind of cracking or gapping in the glaze. How was my trip? It was very good. Very good. It was super cool. I have to say, I'm not like the biggest fan of going on like vacations to cities and that kind of thing, but New Orleans was really cool. It was probably, in all of the cities that I've explored and visited and went on like trips to, New Orleans is probably top of the list, to be honest. There was just, everywhere you look, there was something going on. Either it was like live music or some kind of like performance or something. It was really cool. The French Quarter was really cool to explore. Hope I'm feeling better. I do. I feel better now. My throat's still a little rough, but it's better than it was last week. That's for sure. What you pouring? I am pouring the slip into these plaster molds here. This is called slip casting, and you pour liquid clay, otherwise known as slip, into these molds here, and the plaster will suck away and absorb the moisture from the clay. And once you've let it do that for a little bit, it builds up a shell on the outside. And then you pour the excess slip out from inside of the mold, and what you're left with is a shell of whatever the mold is meant to cast. And so these are some eggs, and this is a potato. And after we let these sit for a little bit and build up that shell, we'll dip out that slip, and then they've got to sit for about 3.5 hours, and then we can crack them open. So we'll be able to do that later today. Be very exciting. Carolyn Knits over on YouTube. Hello. Welcome back. How was my trip? My trip was very good. Thank you for asking. What was my favorite thing that you did or saw on the trip? Honestly, the food. The food was definitely my favorite part of the trip. There's so much good food in New Orleans. It was really cool. Eggs and potato again. Woo-hoo. Hell yeah. These are my two go-to molds for slip casting right now. My wife's been talking about making some little models out of polymer clay with trying to make some little chickens or something like that. That way I have some more fun ones to use, but these are the two main that I have right now that I keep going back to. All right. So let's check our mugs here. That one's a little rough. I'm going to try to fill in the gap. Try to fill in the crack around the handle on that one a little bit. That way it's not too prominent in the glaze. That one looks fine. That one's a little rough. Let's touch that one up. That one's fine. So is that one. Most of these are going to be fine. That one's a little rough. Let's try to pack that one full a bit. That one could probably use some packing. Carolyn Sedig over on Twitch. Hello. How are you doing? I see you hopped over from YouTube. Very fun. That one is right on the edge. Let's err on the side of caution. That one's totally fine. That one's also on the edge. That one's fine. On the edge. That one's pretty rough. One's fine. That one is right on the edge. Those are both fine. That one's fine. Fine. Just a few more here. Into that one. And that one's fine. Okay. It's not super necessary to tend to these cracks in the handles. They're still plenty strong, but just for aesthetics purposes, I don't want any gaps or cracking forming in the glaze. So we're just going to try to bridge the gap between the handle and the mug here and there if it's needed. That's all. Okay, it's the last time that I want to fill those up. We'll let those sit for just the last few minutes, and we'll get them dumped out. Yeah, you thought it would make sense to have the chatters in one place. Hey, I appreciate it. It saves me a little looking back and forth. But hey, if you like watching on YouTube more, then by all means, you're on the edge of glory. Hell yeah. How have you two been? Fancy Pudding and Carolyn. We didn't get to chat at all last week. Let's see, where is my rubber? Rubber rib here. Just try to clean this out a little bit. Okay. I was trying to get this cleaned up before it dries. Sorry I'm not able to pay a ton of attention to the chat at this exact moment, but I will make it up to you. I'll make it up to you by chatting you up in just a moment. Okay. Let that dry out. Finish cleaning it up after that. Carolyn, not too bad. You're getting further with the house reno. Hey, very cool. You might be able to start moving in the next month. Very exciting. The biggest hurdle at the moment is getting the kitchen installed. Super cool. Very, very super cool. What all are you doing with the house reno? The house renovation. Is the kitchen like the last on the list, or is there something after that? Okay, these are ready to be dumped out, so let's get them emptied out now. Let's flip them upside down, let them drain. Okay. Probably need to pop some bubbles here and there. Let that one sit. Pop these bubbles quick. The eggs are really bad about forming bubbles. They just don't drain very well without the extra help. It's like a the hole, the drainage hole is too small for how big like the inside of the egg is. And so like the pressure difference creates it's like a little bubble over the hole there, and then it just doesn't drain very well unless you pop it. Let's see. Fancy Pudding, you're doing good. Had a relaxing weekend. Thursday, you finished all the glass planets you were making. Hey, very cool. Glass planets. I would love to see pictures of those. Are they up on your socials? You just have to clean them. Okay. Which you're going to do this weekend, but you just opted to relax. Hell yeah. Hey, any weekend where you can just chill and relax is a good weekend. It feels nice to be productive, of course, but it also feels really good to just relax. Carolyn, you still need to put the floors in and finish painting, as well as the kitchen install. Okay, okay. What kind of floors are you installing? Is it like a hardwood? Or is it like tile flooring? What do you got going on over there? How long do the molds have to dry off before you can release them? About 3.5 hours is what I've found is the best. You can let them go as like indefinitely as long as they don't have something like a handle on them, because the if it has a handle on it, then you're gonna have plaster in between the handle and the mug over here. So as they shrink, the plaster will put pressure on the handle and it can make it pop off of the mug. But as long as it doesn't have something like that, you can let them sit indefinitely, and they should release just fine. But at least 3.5, 4-ish hours. Pudding, you haven't taken any photos yet, but you will after you clean them. Okay, I'm looking forward to seeing them. Those sound really cool. Glass planets, those sound super cool. Back in college, there's this girl that I was friends with that she was really into like astrology, so like planets and space and anything space related, really. And I was trying to get a little something going with her, you know. So I was like always trying to like find like spacey like planet stuff or like stars or galaxy stuff to like share with her. I never made anything happen, but it was fun. It was fun scouring the internet for cool stuff to share with her. Don't tell my wife. No, she wouldn't care. The floor is mostly wood laminate, but the stairs will be carpeted and the kitchen should be terracotta tiled. Ooh, super cool. As the molds get older, they can take longer to absorb. Luckily, that takes a real long time. Yes, absolutely. Over time, they just kind of degrade. They become less and less effective over time. Takes a while, though. Does take a while. Just cleaning up the rims here a little bit. Clay is still pretty soft, so I don't feel too bad just putting it right back into the bucket with the rest of the slip. Because probably tonight after I end the stream, I need to measure the specific gravity of this slip again and make sure that it's still right around what it needs to be. Otherwise, I need to add a little more water because it's probably dried out a bit. So I don't really feel that bad about adding this scrap directly into it. Because I'm going to have to tend to it anyways. So I might as well. Did you ever ask her how she felt about Pluto? She was very upset. She liked Pluto a lot. She thought it was cute that it was such a small planet. She was a little upset when it was no longer a planet. It was like it got kicked out of the club. Okay, the eggs are looking pretty good. Let's set them off. Potato could be cleaned up a little bit better. So let's do that quick. Okay. Good to go. All right. Let's see. Pluto is still a planet in your eyes. It'll always be a planet in our hearts. Always, always. Okay, so today we're going to be glazing, which means that I don't need the wheel here. So we're going to get this moved out of the way. Open the camera up a little bit. Okay. Now I need to get all my glazes around. I'm going to put them just along the sides of the room here. And hopefully, if you can't see very well in this camera, you'll still be able to see in the camera up there. Let's see. Same Caroline, but you fully understand why it's not. You personally are in the camp that want both Pluto and Charon to be considered planets. Charon, is that like a big asteroid or something like that? Is it considered to be an asteroid instead of a planet? They recently learned that both Pluto and Charon orbit a central point together. Ooh, that's cool. Very cool. Space is so cool. Charon is Pluto's largest moon. Oh, okay. Very cool. See, if it's got moons, then it must be a planet. Charon. Oh, okay. Thank you for correcting me. Charon. I think I just saw recently that they've confirmed that there's ice on Mars. I think that I just saw that the other day. There's polar ice cap on Mars, which is pretty exciting. It's cool stuff. Okay. Got our misty sunrise here. Sharon, don't make fun of me. Don't make fun of me, Caroline. I didn't know. Got our ivory here. Start floating pink. floating cobalt. These are blurple. Our Misty Forest, nice green. And our Misty Morning, nice variegated blue. Okay. I have too much stuff in this little room. This room really is just big enough. And not any bigger. There's ice on Mars. It is neat. Hell yeah. Your favorite planet is Neptune. Neptune's really cool. I think I like, ooh, that's tough. I think I like Jupiter the most, just because it's like really big and it's cool that there's like not any like solid ground on it, but it's still like considered to be a planet. It's really cool. Save big money at Menards. Hell yeah, love Menards. My favorite store. We were just there last night. All right, let's see. Got a nice. Got all these out here. Trying to think if there's anything that I'm forgetting that I need to get out and get ready. I don't think so. I do think that we're okay. No. I want to set these out. I use toilet scrubbers to mix up all of my glazes. I just keep them in the buckets, but when I dip the stuff in, it's nice to have somewhere to put the scrubber. And they all came with these little holders, so I'll just set one of these next to each of the buckets. My goodness. Oh, she's stuck. What's gonna be doing with all those clay bits? All the dried bits, I will let them dry out fully, which they all probably are at this point. But I do have some more wet stuff, like this container on the floor here, which is all still really soft. So I'll probably spread this out on those later tonight when I'm kind of doing like housekeeping stuff off stream. I'll spread those out, let those finish drying, and then I'll rehydrate it and work it all back into usable clay. I don't typically use reworked clay for throwing on the wheel, but I do like to use it for hand building because I find that, sometimes it can be a little difficult to get the consistency of the clay when it's already been when it's been dried out and rehydrated and reworked. I find that it can be really difficult to get it extremely consistent as far as like the moisture and the plasticity. And so a lot of times I just use it for hand building rather than on the wheel. It's not as particular when it comes to hand building. Okay. Let's go ahead and start getting these mixed up. So your little glass planets, do you normally... what's your process for making them? Describe them to me. Are they just like glass balls? Do you like paint any kind of details onto them, or do they just have all the details in them innately with the glass? Okay, let that one sit for a little bit. It has been a while since the last time that I glazed, so I'm gonna have to give all of these a really good mix. Thankfully, though, none of them have deadpans, so you gotta be really thankful for that. You do lamp work. You made all the glass planets into beads. That's right, you do beads for like jewelry and that kind of thing. Sorry, I forgot about that. Super cool. How big are they? Like when it comes to the bead size, are they like big beads or are they like small little beads? Okay, that one's good for now. On to the next one. Cool. My arm's getting tired. Okay. Sorry, this probably isn't very exciting. It's going to take a little bit to do this initial mix. Gotta make sure that they're all nice and mixed up with how long they've been sitting. You dip the metal mandrels, like metal rods, into bead release so the glass doesn't stick to the metal mandrels. Then you cure that in the flame, and then you heat up the first layer of glass and the mandrel and put a glob of glass on it. And then you keep layering the glass and get it into the shapes you want, which this time were planets. Wow, that's really cool. So you, instead of like with like glass blowing where you have like a blob and you like blow air into it to expand and increase the size, but with like lamp work, you're like almost like layering up and like building up the glass more and more. That sounds really neat. That sounds really interesting. Super cool. You mainly use recycled and scrap glass. Oh, that's super cool. It's a fun way to recycle. Absolutely. I love things that take what would otherwise be just like waste and reuse it and make something cool out of it. Super cool. All the glass that you use is soda lime glass, which is what most bottles are made from as well. Okay, it's a softer glass than borosilicate, which needs way more heat, and your torch can't handle that. Interesting. Okay, very cool. Soda lime glass, huh? Are there any what are the cons of using that soda lime glass though? Is it weaker as a result? Is it typically weaker than the borosilicate would be? It's a softer glass. Yeah, I guess I just answered my own question. Sorry, that was stupid. You said it was softer, so obviously it's going to be weaker. Okay, that one seems good. Move on to the next one. Burro glass is what like bongs and that and stuff like that is made from. That makes sense because it would have to resist the heat of like the people's lighters and that kind of thing more. It is weaker and it's not as heat resistant. That makes sense. That makes a lot of sense. What about like coloring? How do you add colorant to the glaze? Or I got glaze on the brain. How do you add colorant to the glass? Is it like do you start with glass that is like already that color, or is there anything that you can do while you are making your beads and that sort of thing to add and change the color of the glass? And I'm gonna grab you. My apologies for laying my hands upon you. I'm gonna turn you down just a little bit so you can see more of what's going on. I'm sorry. I should have asked for consent before touching you. Okay. One more. We got one more to do. Most of the glass is colored with minerals and metals and chemical reactions. Some colors will react with one another and change color when they contact. Okay, very cool. So like ivory, when it's touched, some blues can get a black ring right where it meets the blue. It's real neat. Wow, very cool. Gold leaf, when it contacts ivory, will also create some real weird colors that are cool. Hey, very cool. So it's more about like chemical reactions. That's super cool. That's really similar to how the glazes work, with how they react to the heat in the kiln. Super cool. All right. One more. Okay. Where is it? There it is. All right. We got a good initial mix on all of these now. Now, let's tend to our mugs that have the cracks around the handles that are a bit more than what we really want them to be. Okay, so let's grab some of our slip. Okay. Got our little dipper there. Glazes have tiny glass bits in them sometimes. What you do is very similar, just yours is all glass and mine is earth and glass. Yeah, all of my glazes have silicon in it, which is like a type of glass. Glaze is glass. When it gets fired in the kiln, it melts. And when it cools down, it hardens and becomes a nice layer of glass on the outside of your pieces. That's what makes it food safe, so that moisture and stuff doesn't suck into the clay underneath the glaze. Okay. Not going to spend too long on each of these mugs. I'm trying to pack the cracks around the handles. Just want to make sure it's good enough so that those cracks aren't visible in the glaze at all. This won't hurt nothing doing this. Applying the slip straight to the piece before it goes into the kiln for the glaze fire. Won't hurt nothing, it'll just bridge that gap that some of these have. Okay, that was good. Set them over there. Turns into hot goo. Absolutely, that is exactly what happens. Who doesn't love some hot goo? Okay. That one seems good. Ew! Oh my gosh. That sneeze almost knocked me over. My goodness. That's right. Okay. Can't believe it's almost 11 o'clock here already. 11 a.m. Jeepers. Okay. Okay. What are your favorite colors of glass to work with? Do you have a favorite color? Do you like how one looks when it's finished more than some of the others? Time flies when you're having fun. Always does. And at least I didn't sneeze into the glaze. That could have been kind of nasty. I would feel bad selling selling something to someone that I sneezed in. I guess it's not like a big deal because it would get like super heated, super cooked in the kiln, but still feel a bit bad. This is a cute cup. Reminds you of like Winnie the Pooh's honey pot. It is a little honey pot like, huh? That's actually how I was thinking of it when I threw it. I usually have like my go-to shapes when it comes to like mugs and bowls and that kind of thing, and the little honey pot is one of them. Just always turns out kind of cute. You love working with clear glasses the most. Your favorite color is gray and silver, and you'll have a clear purple. When it's overheated, it turns into smoky gray. Oh, that sounds cool. Very cool. A smoky gray, huh? Does it look smoky because it's like partially translucent? And so you can like see into it a little, and maybe there's like striations in it that give it like a smoky appearance. That would be super cool. Okay, this one seems good now. Just clean it up a little bit. Make sure everything's nice and smooth. Okay. On to the next one. Yeah, depending on how you put the glass on the mandrel, it can be. Okay, okay. The mandrel, those were the like little metal rods that you were talking about, yeah? Okay. Yep. Hell yeah. I knew it. See, I pay attention. Maybe not all the times, but at least some of the time. I appreciate you tuning in today. I was a bit worried coming back from such a long break that there wouldn't be anyone interested anymore. I was just going to be sat here talking to myself all day. So I appreciate you. I don't think that I said that yet today. Okay. Smooth it on out. When doing lamp work, there's lots of ways to do it. You can put the beads onto the mandrel after you put on bead release. You can also similarly to how a glass worker does it with the big rods, just use the tip of the mandrel without any bead release. I see. Without any bead release. You can also just not use a mandrel and only work off of the glass rods themselves. It's fun. Super cool. That must be what there's this guy that I like to watch at the Ohio Renaissance Festival. He's a glass worker. He makes like a lot of like little glass dragons and just a bunch of little other animals and that kind of thing out of glass. And he must be a lamp worker because he uses the little like glass rods and the little metal rods. I just never knew what it was called, so that's super cool. Cool to learn what it's actually called and to know more about it. Okay. Alright. This one's nearly done. Just touch up the bottom here a little bit. Okay. It's always super fun to watch him. He always has like a little display set up so that you can watch while he works in his little shop that he's got there. And it's always really cool to stand and watch while he makes stuff. He makes these little crabs that are really cute. Like actual crabs and like little hermit crabs too. They're really cute. I like them a lot. Okay. On to the next one. This isn't super necessary, but I do like to do it just to make sure that everything comes out looking nice and professional. Nice, professional, and intentional. Okay. There's a couple more spots that I'd like to see look a bit better. We've only got a few left after this one. And then it's into the dip glazing. Okay, all right, all right. Top of this one looks good. Let's touch up the bottom here. Okay. Nice. Oh yeah. So what are you up to? You working on anything? You just chilling? How's it going over there? Okay. That one's done. 3 more left. Okay. Chan- Channel my inner macho man. You do chat support for your job, so you're working as you're watching. Heck yeah. That's kind of neat. Like one of those like online chat support kind of things where you're like IMing back and forth. That's pretty cool. That must get pretty boring if you don't have anything going on in the background. So I totally understand. Are the people that you usually chat with pretty like decently behaved, or have there been times where they've been a little less civilized? I would imagine like chatting back and forth is maybe a little more tame than like talking over the phone would be. Talking over the phone, you are bound to get the irate, disgruntled customer every now and then. Bad bot. Yeah, I just ignore them. They pop in every now and then, but it don't bother me none. Does make me wonder how many people are using that kind of stuff. Probably a lot. You've only ran into a few assholes? Nice. Nice. Yeah, I've got to imagine that it's a lot more chill, just chatting back and forth. You're pretty nice, so most of the people are chill with me. Nice. Kind of like one of those like treat others how you would like to be treated situations. Hell yeah. Hell yeah. Okay, just a little bit more. After this one, we've only got one left. Okay. Seems like we saved the worst for last. This has a big gap around the handle. Still structurally sound, but definitely don't want this big of a gap showing up in the glaze. A little bit more here. Get it nice and packed. Who doesn't like getting packed? Am I right? Oh yeah! Silly. Very silly. The Kool-Aid Man always reminds me of you mentioned Macho Man earlier, and I don't know if it was like a Macho Man Randy Savage reference or not. Randy Savage was a like a wrestler for like the WWE here in America, which is essentially just like a men's soap opera with fighting. But Macho Man Randy Savage would always do that. Oh yeah, Macho Man. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Okay, just a little bit more. This one was definitely pretty bad. One of the worst ones. By far. Hit this side and we'll be done. Okay. Okay. All done with bridging those larger gaps there. So we will set these off to the side. I was hoping I had some coffee left. No such luck. Okay. Okay. Let's get going with a little glazing here now, huh? Let's see. I've got my numbers on the bottom of these indicating what I wanted to glaze them in. And I have my little guide right here. A little table that I put together. This one is marked with the number 4, which is 2 coats of the floating cobalt. So let's find it. It's this one here. Let's give it an extra mix before we dip it. Okay. Grab it with our tongs here. A little extra mix. And in we go. Okay. Let's clean up the bottom really quick. A little extra, a little less work later on. And then, need to clear off a little space here. So let's move these over here. What color is that going to be? This is going to be cobalt blue. Floating cobalt is a variegated blue. So it has a lot of like darker and lighter spots and streaks in it. It's a lot of variation, which is referred to as variegation in glazes. And that is what this will be. So that's our first coat on that one. We'll set it off, let it dry for about an hour or so. What I'm going to do is I'm going to go through and do the first coat on everything, and then I'll come back to the stuff that I coated first. That way it's had a lot of time to dry, and the clay has had a lot of time to absorb the water, wick the moisture away from the glaze. Okay. It's blue. If it were green, you dork. You dork. That's really silly. Okay. Okay. Oh, I never turned my lights on. An old gum freak. Ta-da. Hell yeah. Couldn't help it. You said the magic words and your mind went burr. Hey, it happens, you know. It happens. Okay. So I don't forget what is what. If I can't tell from looking through the glaze. If the glaze covers it up too bad. I'm just going to write what the number of it was on here. Now we don't get mixed up later on. So this was number 4. If you couldn't tell, I'm not the fastest worker. And so it takes me a while to get stuff done. But worry not. We'll get as much done as we can. Okay, this is also number 4. Nice. It's nice getting the back-to-back like that, because then the glaze stays nice and mixed up. Okay. Nice. Just wipe the foot off ever so slightly. Let's see, can we get lucky and pull another 4? The back to back to back. Nope, that's number 8. That's fine. Let's see. Number 8 is 1 coat of Misty Forest, and then the second coat is Misty Morning. Okay. I can do that. Misty Forest, where are you? There it is. I'm always losing stuff. Where'd my towel go? Here it is. Speaking of music, what's your favorite kind of music? What kind of music do you like to listen to? Surely you have a preference of some kind. Everybody does. Okay. Nice. Your favorite band is The Cure. Okay. You listen to a wide variety of music. You watch a lot of Rock Smith streamers. While you work typically, it's fun, and you're always finding new music. How about me? Super cool. I'm usually only listening to music while I am like focused and like working on other stuff. And so honestly, I like just putting on some chill lo-fi in the background, something like that. Just kind of like a background music that I don't get distracted by. It's a little boring, but it's usually my go-to. Other than that, usually like punk rock. Like early 2000s, late 90s punk rock. That's probably my go-to. That's good for, that's always good for, like, long drives in the car. Okay, this one is 14, which is the misty morning into the misty forest, so... Do I like SKA at all? Sky. I've heard that before. That sounds so familiar, but I don't remember what that is. Can you describe it to me? Grab our tongs. Quick extra mix. And then in. Clean up the bottom here. Set it off. Let it dry. Okay, what's next? Number 5. which is double pink. Pink into the pink. Here she is. Tongs. Have it. Go. No doubt is SKA. Ska. I think it's pronounced Ska, right? I'm saying that right. Mighty bass notes. Real boss notes. Boss tones. I can't read. I might be dyslexic. Real big fish. I don't think I've heard of any of those. It's like upbeat music most of the time with punk and lots of polka and jazz influence. Interesting. There's always a trumpet. Very interesting. I don't think I've heard of any of that. I'll have to take a look at it. Are those all bands that you would recommend? What are some ska bands that you would recommend? Mighty Boss Note, Boss Tones. I'm just like I swear. Real big fish. Nice. Okay, let's see. Let's do this one next. This is 2, which is Forest into Forest. Be a nice green. You love ska. Okay, alright. Indeed, you recommend all those ska bands. Your favorite is No Doubt because you like it Gwen Stephanis. Oh, I've heard of Gwen Stephanis before. You like her voice a lot. The Mighty Boss Tones are legends in the ska scene. Okay, they're more classic ska. Okay, very cool. I will definitely have to check those out. I'm sure my wife has probably heard of those bands before. She's like really big into punk. Like old punk. Like 90s, early 2000s. So I'd be very surprised if she hasn't heard of them. Okay, extra little quick mix. And then into the soup. Oops. I made a freaking mess with that one. I caught a bubble and launched it. Ooh-wee. Does your wife like the Exploited at all? That's older punk that you quite enjoy. I am sure that she has heard of it before. It doesn't ring a bell like right off the top of my head, but I'm sure that she's heard of it before. Her favorite punk band is come on, right? It's like right on the tip of my tongue. We went and saw them live just like a year or so ago because they're still around. Um, Man, I can't believe I'm pulling a blank on this one. Let me look it up real quick. I can like hear the band in my in my head so clearly. Neck Deep. That's the name of it. It was like right on the tip of my tongue. That's her favorite punk band. She's got a tattoo with some of the lyrics from one of her favorite songs. Like I think it's Gold Steps. It's her favorite song by them. What am I doing? Here we go. I get distracted easily. ADHD. Okay, this is number 6, so it's going to be Pure Ivory. Got our ivory here. Quick mix. That's cool? Hell yeah. I'm sure you've probably heard of them. Okay. Let's see, what's next? You have not, really? Wow, they have a lot of, they've had a lot of popular songs, like, She's a God is a really popular, one of theirs. That's the one that comes to mind as what would probably be, like, their most popular. Um, they're a British-based band too, Britain-based, UK-based. Okay, this is 24. which is ivory, into Misty Sunrise. Yeah. You'll have to look into them. Heck yeah, I hope you do. And I hope that you like it. I'll look into all those ska bands that you recommended and see what they're like. You follow a guy who plays bass named Alpine. Okay. He plays a lot of real old punk. He himself is an older punk who lives in Ireland. Whoa, that's cool. Okay. What we got next, huh? Let's see what we'll pick out. What are you? Number 6. Okay, okay. That's the double ivory again. The double ivory is one of my favorite combinations with this tan clay. The reason being, this tan clay has little flecks of glaze mixed throughout it into the clay body itself. And so when it gets glaze fired, those little flecks melt and it creates a really nice like speckly pattern throughout the glaze. And depending on the glaze that you put over top of it, it either will or either won't mix really well with those speckles and make them like really prominent. And the ivory is one that does that. And it always looks really nice when it's finished. Hey. All right, let's take a water break. boy. Okay. What's next? What we got? Number 2. The double forest again. So you work as a chat support. What is the do you have any like stories or any memories that stand out to you of like a funny interaction, a funny conversation that happened? There has to have been at least one. Okay. This one's getting a little saturated. We'll swap it out for a cleaner one. What next? Number 1, Misty Morning. No, this one. Okay. And there's lots of people every day. It's hard to remember them all in detail after a while. Hey, that's fair. That's fair. How like how many people would you say that you chat with on like a day-to-day basis? I've always been kind of curious about that because like it's probably quicker to get through people over chat, or it's probably quicker to get through people over the phone, but it's like more convenient to do it through a live chat kind of thing. So it might take a little bit longer. What's your volume like on a day-to-day basis? The ones that are memorable are usually the ones that are scary individuals. Some people have threatened to come to your building after a bug or when they get told no and don't like it just to hurt us. Yikes. It's real weird when that happens. That is very strange. I don't really get that mentality. You know, it's kind of like when people take out, like, not liking their meal on, like, the server or the waitress, and it's like, they didn't make it. And even if they did, it's not really their fault that you don't like it. Unless they, like, big time screwed something up, but most of the time it's just because you're too picky. It's a little different when it comes to, like, tech and bug issues and that kind of thing, but even then, it's like, come on. Varies on the time of year and day. It's usually above 30 for you a day. Interesting. Okay. Interesting. That's quite a few. That's more than I would have guessed. Then again, I don't know, like, how big your business is. What's the I don't want you to, like, dox yourself and telling me the name of the company that you work for, but what line of business is the business in? Some kind of tech thing, I'm sure, but can you give me any details? Let's see. Got another number 4. This will be straight cobalt. The auto mod held back one of your messages for some reason. It says because you use sex-based terms. Oh my goodness. It didn't like your beat our ass. How silly. There we go. Sometimes people like try to get racist with you as well. Oh, that's no good. Can't have that. Big no-no. You've been called an N-word, yikes, before and told to stop taking jobs from Americans, yikes. You live in Illinois and you're white AF, which makes more sense. Make that make sense. I don't know. Some people are just off their rockers, man. Some people are just freaking crazy. And by some, I mean a lot. A lot of people are crazy. Especially when they're empowered by the internet. And they're able to be crazy and shitty and rude behind a nice convenient wall where no one can really get to them from. Once it was a pastor who didn't live too far away from you and threatened to beat your ass. A pastor did? Yikes. That one really didn't make any sense to you. That is a big yikes. Most people are chill, though. That's good. That's good. You find the mean people contact you more towards the holidays. I see. Like the holidays bring out the weird in people. Yeah, maybe it's just like more stress. It's a more stressful time. Still not an excuse for it, but I suppose it maybe makes sense. What we got? Number 1. Misty morning again. I didn't used to do this little numbering system, but I started doing it here recently because I figured it would help keep track of what is what, how many we have of what, that sort of thing. Almost make it easier to do like an inventory system. Okay. Hey. Cool, you have a system for that. Probably makes it easier to remember when you make so much stuff. Absolutely. That was really the biggest reason behind it, is because it's unless you make notes of it, by the time that everything has been glazed and then dried and then goes through the kiln and you let it cool down so that you can take it out and actually see it, several days go by in between that. And with so many of your pieces, like all the mugs, like they look relatively similar to one another. There's not usually any kind of like defining characteristic. And so unless you number them or ID them in some way, then it's usually impossible to tell what is what after things have been fired. Obviously, there are like the obvious ones, like, oh, this one's pink, this one's green, this one's blue. But I like to do a lot of combination dips. So like the green into the blue, or the pink into the the blue, pink into the green into the pink, that kind of thing. To make like in between colors or combination colors, And a lot of times it's really hard to tell what is what. specifically what is what after it's been fired. So that's why I started doing the ID system. I think somebody's calling me. Somebody in Los Angeles, California. Sorry, but I don't know anyone in Los Angeles. So I'm going to go ahead and ignore that. When you fire these, do you fire them with other glazed with the same color, or do you fire them all together? I fire them all together. All together. I've never really had enough to be able to do an entire fire that's like all one color specifically. I've never had that much inventory on hand at any time. So I throw it all in together, and then whatever comes out is what comes out. That's what makes it so hard to remember what's what sometimes. Fun. Heck yeah. It's always a bit of a surprise because you have like a general idea of how it'll look like when it comes out of the kiln. You have a general idea, but as for like exactly what it's going to look like, it really depends on where it's at in the kiln, because it's going to get different amounts of heat depending on where it's at in the kiln exactly. It's going to get different amounts of oxygen as the air flowing by it. The like air currents going on in the kiln are going to be different from like this spot to this spot and that sort of thing. And so you never know exactly what you're going to get. So it's always kind of fun. This one's going to be purple. Which is number 35, which is first coat is cobalt into the pink. Okay. It's just after noon here for me, so I'll go a little bit longer, maybe like another 15-30 minutes, and then we'll take a short break for lunch. I'll just go and make it, bring it back down, chat while I eat, and then we'll be right back at it. Okay. This one next, let's see. Another blue. Had a lot of requests for blue mugs, so. Let's see, which is that specifically? Cobalt. The cobalt again. Oh, what am I gonna eat? Ooh, I'm not sure. I've got some leftover Subway from last night. My wife and I were out shopping, and so we stopped and got a little subby to eat for dinner, but I'll probably save that for dinner. But maybe not, because it sounds really good. So I'll probably either have some cereal or some oatmeal for lunch. Just something quick that I can throw together. Okay. Wait. Let's see. What's next? 6. Okay. Actually, let's chip away at these ones up here for a little bit. It's just a little guy. Like a little teacup. It is number 6, I agree. Got some leftover Subway. Let's see. When I go to Subway, or any sub place for that matter, I almost always go for the tuna. It's a bit less popular than some of the other ones, but man, ever since I was little, I have loved tuna. There have been very few times in my entire life where I have gotten something other than tuna going to Subway. My wife, she always goes for the BMT, which I don't know why it's named that, because it has ham, salami, and pepperoni. Why is it called a BMT? I have no idea. It reminds me of a BLT, but it doesn't have any of those either. It's a little silly to me. What about you? What's on the menu for lunch over there in Illinois, huh? You're gonna go to Walmart and get you some mashed potatoes and potato wedges. Hell yeah. Starch with a side of starch. It doesn't get much better than that. This one is also gonna be purple. Ooh, purple. Let's see. I'm gonna have to start putting things in a different spot. I'll put them over there. We get lunch in an hour. It's gonna be a long hour, huh? It always is. Lunchtime is the best time. Oh, we got number 14. That is a nice dark green. Wednesdays are the best time. Wednesdays are snack day. Ooh. They get you cool snacks and it's fun. Hell yeah. Oh, so you actually like go into the office. See, when you were saying that you were like a chat support, I imagine that you would be like working remotely at home. In that case, all the time is snack time. Yeah, boy. Yeah, you're working in an office. Okay, very cool. Do you like working in the office, or would you prefer if it was remote at home? With you being a chat support, I'm kind of surprised that it's not remote at home. But I suppose it depends on just whoever you're working for, what their policies are like. You've got your own cubicle. You get cool snacks weekly, and your boss is pretty nice and cool. Nice. Okay. You like working in the office personally. You like your space here. Okay, cool, cool. Hey, as long as you like it and you're happy with it, that's all that matters, right? It's nice that you're able to like pull up something else to like watch on the side while you work, and like your boss doesn't like get like crappy about that, you know? I feel like most like managers or bosses would like be against that kind of thing. Say that's like too distracting, something like that. We got another purple here. Feel like I've got a lot of purple and a lot of blues, which is another reason why I like doing this ID system, because it allows me to like quantify and be able to count up how many I have of what. That way I don't end up just doing the same thing over and over and over again. Let's see, that is the cobalt first. Back to the cobalt. Yeah, you find it keeps you more productive, surprisingly, because you're focused on the computer more for responses. Hey, that makes sense. That makes sense. That way your focus doesn't like get pulled away to like coworkers and that kind of thing. You're locked in. Okay. One more bowl and I'm gonna go grab my lunch. Number 3. What is number 3? That's the Misty Sunrise. Okay. That's one that we haven't seen in a while. That's like an orangish brown. Do you have any hobbies that I enjoy doing in your time off from pottery? Yeah, I like to do a lot of woodworking, like building stuff for around the house. Lately, my wife and we just got chickens on Saturday. This past Saturday, we got little baby chicks, and so I've been working on a chicken coop for them. I have finished everything inside of the coop. And I finished everything for like the nest boxes. And next I need to work on the run so that they have a nice little like covered area covered by a roof. Nice little covered area that they could run around in when it's raining, keep them dry, and that kind of thing. So that's what I'm working on right now. But I just like building stuff. Mainly just like functional stuff for around the house. Like I built some like wooden awnings for a couple of windows that we were having problems with water getting in when it stormed really bad. And then I built like some like birdhouses for here and there, for like on our porch and just around the property, that kind of thing. It's pretty fun. I like playing games too, like video games and board games. Like watching Let's Plays on YouTube. When I'm like editing my videos, especially. I was doing a lot of like programming and game development for a while. But I kind of fell out of that. I haven't touched that in a hot minute. Not because I didn't like it. I actually really did enjoy it and like it a lot. But I've just been busy with too many other things. Oh, that one's heavy. Nice, that's cool. Hell yeah. Hobbies are always fun, no matter what they are. That's a little something extra. Okay, that was the last one that I was going to get that first coat of glaze on before taking a little break for lunch. I'm going to run, use the restroom, run and grab some food. I should be back in only like 10, 15 minutes max. And so, if you're gone by the time that I get back, well, thank you for hanging out and chatting with me. I really appreciate it. What are you programming in for the game? Unity, Unreal, etc.? I like to use Godot. I really like to use Godot. I feel like it's the easiest of the game engines for beginners, which a year or so ago I was a beginner, you know. It was really easy for me to grasp the UI and everything in it, and the scripting language, the GD script, was really easy for me to grasp. It's very similar to Python, so it's a lot more like straightforward than something like C or C++. So yeah. Your husband does a bit of programming on the side for fun. Very cool. You like to do pixel art sometimes while you work, and you also like Godot. That's rad. Hell yeah. I like Godot a lot. I've been like really meaning to get back into it. I've just been so busy with other things around the house. Once we've got the chicken coop done and a couple of the other projects here and there, things will like really die down, and hopefully I can get back into it. So yeah, fingers crossed, not too much longer. All right, I'm gonna take my break. I'll be right back. Only like 10-15 minutes tops, I would say. Whoa. Okay. Okay. Boom. Back. The subway. Welcome back. Hello. I'm glad that you're still here. So you like Godot too, huh? That's pretty cool. Have you, is game dev just kind of like do you do game dev, or are you just familiar with Godot? You yourself haven't done game dev on Godot, but that's what your husband uses, and what you have create sprites for him to utilize it in. You like it. Hell yeah. Yeah, it's really cool. I've used programs like Ace Sprite to make sprites. I use Krita a lot, not just for like making like sprites for like the games and stuff, but I use it for like the thumbnails and stuff for YouTube. Any kind of like image creation task, I'm usually using Krita for that. You have been tempted to learn how to use it and do it yourself, but you have no background with stuff like that, so it would be learning a whole new skill on your own. When I first started out with it, I was also completely new to programming and everything. What I actually did was I took Harvard has like a free open courseware that you can find for CS50, which is Computer Science 50, which is like an introduction to programming. So you mainly program in C, but it also expands into stuff like Python a little later on. But it's all like really basic, like introductory, and like teaching you what like the different like languages are, like kind of like the back end of how it works and that kind of thing. And then there's like exercises after you watch the lectures and stuff that you can do in order to practice and get the hang of it, learn how to actually do it, right? It was all free too, all free, all online. If you pay a little bit, then you can get your assignments like graded and get feedback, but I didn't do that, and I still learned plenty from it. You said you use Krita. You have not heard of that. Krita is a free open source like image generation, like image manipulation tool, kind of like GIMP and kind of like Photoshop. However, it is more targeted towards like digital artists than something like GIMP is. Yeah, I like it a lot. I've always used Krita for like any kind of image stuff. Even back when I was doing like a lot of art, like hand drawn stuff, I would use Krita a lot. Yeah, I like it a lot. It's open source, so what's not to like? Okay. Okay. I'm just trying to be really thorough, make sure I didn't miss anything, so I don't forget about any pieces that need to be glazed. Neat. That's cool. Hell yeah. And it's super cool. It's essentially just like free Photoshop is a good way to think of it. Okay. Okay, I will work while I eat now. Okay. I'm gonna go grab a fresh towel because this one's a bit wet now. This will be It needs to be set out and let dry before I can keep using it. I'm back. Boom. So quick, so fast. It's time for lunch now yourself, so you will be back soon. Heck yeah, I hope that you eat all the yummy, delicious foods. All of your mashed potatoes. And your hash browns. And whatever other potatoes you're getting. Have fun. Good luck. Okay, that is cobalt into the pink. You're going to get it and then bring it back to work because you also have stuff to do for the Bonsai Club. What? Bonsai Club? What is that? You're part of the Bonsai Club. You manage their Facebook page, so you gotta make some posts. You have to tell me about that when you get back. I'm curious what that is. Okay. Let's give this a good mix, a good stir before we dunk in our bowl. Turned out pretty well, nice and clean. Clean. Nice. Number 3. Trace. That is sunshine, or sunrise, my bad. Okay. And I don't think that anyone is watching on YouTube right now, so my wife's got an important meeting coming up, so I'll probably go ahead and end that. Just to make sure that the internet will run nice and smoothly for her. Let's see. Let me check just real quick. If you're watching on YouTube, make yourself heard. Okay, I think we're good.